Hold on now one day. Listen, hey, future foreign talking. Camera, focus, see, face. This is my block face. Please focus. Thank you. This video right here brought to you by Curiosity Stream and Nebula. Watch the extended Nebula cut of this video and even more when you sign up with the link in the description for less than $15 a year. Are you listening? Okay. All right. Thank you. Get back to screeching.
Everybody loves the things you do, from the way you were taught,
This is your humble servant.
to the way that you move. Everybody here is watching you. You feel like home, like a dream come true.
Good one, man.
But if by chance you're all alone,
Big up, brethren.
can I have a moment before I go?
Now run with me.
What was that?
'Cause I've been by myself all night long, hoping you're someone I used to know. You look like a movie, you sound like a song. My God, this reminds me of when we were young. Let me photograph you in this light, in case this is the last time that we might be exactly like we were before we realized we were scared of getting old, and it made us restless. It was just like a movie, it was just like a song. It was like y'all yam heads from Hollywood never met a Caribbean person a day in your godforsaken life, my God. That's why we ranking Caribbean characters from S to F. And I say we because you know I couldn't do this alone. I call you, my big non-binary folk them, man them, woman them, to come rank these Caribbean cartoon characters with a special guest of mine. Drum roll, please.
Toonrific Tyreek.
We enlisted the expertise of Toonrific Tyreek, and Lord, the screams that I scrum. We cover more ground than Imperial Britain, my youth. From dragging Uncle Feek faves like Baby Boy.
Oh man, if FD was in the chat just now, I swear to God, like he would cry because he loves Baby Boy. Like he's just like, Baby Boy is amazing, yo.
Oh yeah, he does love Baby Boy. I forgot he loves.
Extemporaneous explanations on why King of the Hill is one of the best cartoons ever made.
It's about a guy that grew up in a completely different generation trying to adapt in the new generation through his son. And like, Bobby is just
Hold
like,
on, you just can't say that, bro. Like that just blew my mind.
But between me, Toonrific Tyreek, and the lovely peeps in the chat them, you will gain a very good understanding of the nuanced role of cartoon characters in systemic skullduggery.
like tell their stories and let them tell their stories. It helps a lot of people feel validated, and it helps other young people understand the world around them. The most important thing is that like they don't feel like a caricature, right? It's that they just feel like a human being.
But before we save Caribbean culture yet again, we gotta talk. You know it's serious if we gotta have a car convo. I scared of having this conversation, but I even more terrified of not having it. You see, you and I, we had an agreement. And don't be alarmed, you've been keeping up your side of the bargain. It's me, you know, there's really no better way of putting this, but I failed you. I've been absolutely torturing myself about talking about this. Cause I know there'll be some yam-head bad actors that could take this and weaponize it. But I need to take accountability for my actions. I made a video, a good video in many ways. I love that video. I think that it dissects a nuanced experience that I've ruminated on for years. The way that the Caribbean commodifies culture for tourism, and it changes the way that we engage with not only the culture, but one another. The upholding of whiteness and the degradation of ourselves in pursuit of capitalism. There's a lot to love about the video, but there's something that I'm not very proud of. And that one thing in this case is Mr. ER. Y'all know Mr. ER, right? Well, he met the love of his life in Walmart, of all places. And ER fell high over heels for her patriotism and political incorrectness. You know, classic Republican things. This is a hyper-conservative American stereotype that Mr. Yeehaw is my vehicle to make mockery through. But I fell into my own trap because it was in a blind spot of bigotry that I didn't even know I had. So trigger warning for a discussion on anti-fatness. I made Mr. Yeehaw fat in this episode because I think of that when I think of the American stereotype. The very stereotype that is exported throughout the world and consumed by many, including myself. And while I didn't make jokes of his fatness, I made a mistake. Because by framing him and Miss Howdy in the context of ignorance, created a false equivalence, essentially making it seem like I was equating fatness with ignorance. And I'm paraphrasing a comment that was deleted by YouTube because it seemed to be a derogatory one that may have been hate. I wish the YouTube would do it when it's supposed to, but in this case, it wasn't hate. It was criticism, and a valid criticism. And just like YouTube, I guess, I didn't see it as that either initially. I got extremely defensive about it. I said, how is that what you got from that scene? You know, how I wasn't trying to communicate that. I was trying to communicate the Confederate flag waving, truck nuts dragging. And then I started to say things to myself like, you know, I've been fat my whole life. You know, I just started to love my body after I began to exercise and, you know, take shape. You know, like, how am I anti-fat? And then I realized that that's exactly the way that these bigots sound when they say that they have a black friend or they have a trans friend, like, you know, big up Dave Chappelle. I was beginning to sound exactly like the bigots that I drag, and I felt mortified. I immediately took it out of the video because I didn't want to save face. I wanted to save others from the pain that I obviously was causing them from watching it. The unedited version is up on Nebula in all of its anti-fat glory. And I didn't want to take it down because I didn't want to obfuscate my mistakes. Just like I wanted to show my mistakes in my Caribbean homophobia video, and I asked you to hold me accountable, and you have. In fact, you know, some of you all actually went the extra mile. You know, I had someone subscribe to my Patreon when the video came out, and we're having a conversation like I do with every patron that, you know, enters the community, enters the Foreign Land Discord, and you know, she admitted that my most recent video hurt her. You know, that really stuck with me. It's not my intention to hurt anybody. I've been hurt. Why would I want to perpetuate hurt? So to have someone literally pay me to tell me that I'm wrong, or to tell me that, hey, you hurt me, it goes to show the character of this community. The fight against bigotry is a two-front war. One against others and one within ourselves. And I lost the battle that day. I admit defeat, I concede. But I refuse to lose the war. So much like the one Patreon member that was able to reach out to me, we correct each other by reaching out to them respectfully, rather than spewing hatred. Much like Aronok and Jesse reached out to me and provided me with a video, an amazing video, a vulnerable video that was able to give me the vernacular, the insight, and the understanding for me to comprehend what I did wrong and what consequences that have for non-compliant bodies. And I say we because in many ways, not all, we're a lot alike. Our struggles are comparable. Anti-fatness is equitable in many ways to anti-blackness, anti-transness. It's the same rotten root that renders these branches of bigotry. So instead of saving face, I wanted to face my mistakes and apologize. I want to emphatically and absolutely say that I am sorry. Because being able to listen to marginalized communities, see where you went wrong, and atone for the injuries that you rendered onto others is what sets people like me apart from what we're about to see.
Oh shit!
He's a Jamaican.
Oh man!
Good Lord, what have I done?
This is him defending Jar Jar Binks.
It is in outer space. These are aliens. How in the world you could take an orange amphibian and say that he's a Jamaican?
His name also comes off racist. It sounds like Jar Jar.
I mean, even the idea of taking his ears and calling them dreadlocks is kind of a strange stretch as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's completely absurd.
He have very big lips, nose open up wide, canonical stereotypical black features.
There is a group of fans of the films that don't like comic sidekicks. They want the films to be tough and like Terminator, and they want to be, you know, real guy movies.
Like, you could have a problem with the fact that this character exists in this seemingly serious story. Plus, he makes me really uncomfortable because he looks like a stereotype.
That's the exact urge that I had to overcome. The urge to dismiss what is the warranted criticisms of my art. And I've never been so happy to kill my darlings. Otherwise, I would have turned out like a walking L, just like Lucas. Jar Jar Binks is one of the most controversial characters that I've ever encountered. And honestly, I never encountered him because I never watched Star Wars.
You ever watch Star Wars, bro?
I'm gonna get killed, but no.
I never watched Star Wars. Yes.
Okay, cool, yeah! Let's go!
Aeronaut right there, foreign. I swear I'm gonna sit you down and force you to watch. I telling you, they in here and they in here deep.
But the skullduggery of Star Wars, hey, every time I say skullduggery, turn it into a drinking game. The skullduggery of Star Wars has reached my front door, and for good reason. Cause listen, this scene, my big non-binary folk, them big man, them big woman, them, this scene right here, Lord, get your tea.
Muy, muy, I love you.
You almost got us killed. Are you brainless?
I speak.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent. Now get out of here.
No, Mr. Stay. Mr. called Jar Jar Binks. Mr. your humble servant.
Okay.
He sounds like Urkel.
The condensation, not the type of foam that you just get on the window. I talking about the condensation and the disrespect towards Jar Jar. Saying that but for he speaks does not make him intelligent. Yet Jar Jar wistfully longing to latch on to this white man for voluntary slavery.
Why does he want to be this slave? It creates the thought process that like the black characters or the black coded characters are designed to serve whatever the white character's narrative is. Does Jar Jar exist on his own plane when he's not trying to be the white man's servant?
Now, as it pertains to Jar Jar's Jamaicanness, it's a little bit more nuanced. Jar Jar's accent can sound Jamaican at times, but it's not consistent.
Count me out of this one. Better dead here than dead in the core.
Okay, do you hear that right? Did you hear that for a second? Why did he just sound African American?
He did kind of tweak a little bit.
And then a couple seconds later,
Ye gods! What did Mr. say?
Movie.
so he just jumps right back in.
So you have scenes like that, which would make a very murky argument for Jar Jar's Jamaicanness. But let's gaslight Foreign. Let's just say Foreign freaking himself out and Jar Jar ain't Jamaican, not a day in his life, even though there are so many different articles pointing towards Jar Jar's Jamaicanness. What is not debatable, which is emphatically clear and, just abundantly transparent, is that Jar Jar is black-coded. So much so that they have made comparisons to Jar Jar and another black actor. Can you guess who it is?
They have Jar Jar Binks in juxtaposition with Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh wait, I remember. Oh wait, I think I've seen that.
You create a black codified character, and this is what you make him do. And if it wasn't apparent already, I mean, this scene just drives it home.
What is to become of Jar Jar Binks here?
He seemed to be punished.
I saved his life. He owes me what you call a life debt. Your gods demand that his life belongs to me now.
They're like arguing over who owns them. Is that what's going on? They gotta take this shit down. And he look at him, man. He just gotta sit there and listen to that shit.
Man, just have
he's like looking down. Like, yeah, he's like looking down.
Now, if you thought things couldn't get worse, the true tragedy of Jar Jar's character descends even deeper. Ahmad Best had a very turbulent time for simply showing up to work and, understanding the assignment. You see, Lucas saw that the money wasn't only in movies, but more so in merch. So they needed characters that could turn rather easily into toys and plushies and things like that, right, for merch. And who are the people that are the target market for those type of things? Children. People them pick me. And for that, you had to deviate from the serious movie that many may have wanted and make some room for a comedic character. But we would see that voice acting while black is obviously a punishable offense when it comes to Ahmad Best.
They just dragged him to the point like where he was contemplating suicide. Like, this is a black
that happens. Like, that happens on Star Wars a lot.
And this is like the point that I really want to drive across with this character in particular. People were so vehemently opposed to this character that they literally fantasized and wrote fan fiction and comments about killing this character. Even like one of the directors said that they wanted to put an Easter egg in one of the Star Wars, the subsequent Star Wars, where they would put Jar Jar's skull in the desert to basically signify like, hey, Jar Jar dead, hey, my boys, like, gang. And like, we spoken on Jar Jar today, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, bro.
We laugh because if we don't laugh, we could cry. But it is definitely very damning, especially considering all of the implications that these things culminate.
Like, the fact that, like, this character displays blackness codified, and you have this much visceral hate and literally death threats, fan fiction of killing. The fact that it's a black codified character with black features, all of this, rumors about it being Jamaican, it goes to show how blackness is alienated, literally in this case, like literally alienated and othered, like turned into an alien.
Right.
And more so how it makes it easier for people to point vitriol towards a character that they do not see as human. Like, this is a black-coded character that they do not see as human. It's almost like they didn't see this blackness, like blackness is not human. That's how you kill it to mere rights. Like, that's how you end up like seeing like a child, a black child as an adult. Like, or like superhuman strength, Luke Cage. Like, that's the reason why like you could shoot up at a Luke Cage a bunch of times, he don't die. Like, that's the same like thought process when you encounter a George Floyd. It's a big old black dude, he's invincible. That's like the most tragic thing about Jar Jar, in my opinion. They other him and alienate him to the point where you could warrant the hate from the fandom, and they could talk about killing this character. That is codified as black, voiced by a black person.
Jar Jar Binks is the other, the third character. And the third character is blackness. That is the case in a myriad of movies and all sorts of different kinds of media. And I want to be clear, I don't hate Lucas. I hate the system that perpetuates Lucas, that rewards Lucas. And one may argue that the media is but a byproduct of the demand of the people. We are the children of the media, and the media is a reflection of us. Ergo, what is it about blackness that the audience seems to be so strange, so foreign, pun intended? Because it's normal. We exist. So therefore, blackness deserves normalization. I mean, the Caribbean in itself deserves to be normal. We're more than just Jamaicans. And Jamaicans are more than what's depicted in bellies and shotters. More on that from FD and I soon, very soon. But first, let's see where this lands on the tail list.
He has to be bottom of the barrel because the real world effect that he had on just like the people associated with him. But he just got paid to read his lines, man. Like, you know what I mean? That's it. It is what it is.
He just showed up
It
for
is
work.
what it is.
Like,
He just showed up. He showed up for work.
And bearing that in mind, I gotta give your boy Jar Jar Banton a D. D for... Damn! Now you should have seen this one coming like That's So Raven, but I bringing you a blast from the past.
Where did you find this nigga?
Look at man! Look at man! Conroy Blanc.
Why does that sound familiar?
Conroy Blanc is the Jamaican skate park manager that makes his debut in Happy Loa Tuiua.
Walking Flowers in Hawaii, right?
Here it is. Hold on, wait.
And Lord, what a debut that was.
This
About this nigga. I remember this nigga. Oh, where did you find this nigga? I forgot about him.
This is his debut, right? This is his thank me later. This is his Ilmatic. This is his first appearance, fam. Look at man!
And the reason why I say look at him, in retrospect, is a lot more nuanced than I thought. Conroy's depiction of Jamaicanness is absurd, but the attempt at amalgamating the alternative skate punk aesthetic with the Jamaican code is rather interesting.
You would be very hard pressed to find a Rasta with a nose ring.
It goes back to the homophobia of the Caribbean, in this case Jamaica, which is so severe that I kid you not, if you talking about the number 2, they can look at you.
Because 2 is considered number 2. As in, like, he's going to take...
Like shit?
Yeah, he's taking a shit. So man wouldn't say that, right? Why? Because anything to do with your ass is just booty bandit type talk, and you can't... That's how bad it is, bro. I swear to you. Yvette shouldn't see.
So Conroy's character has some extremely dramatic features. And according to Tariq, there's a reason for that.
Rocket Power is made by Klasky Supo, Ginger Rugrat Studio. Their style is like real big on exaggeration and like practically making every character as ugly as possible, if I'm being honest with you. When you take that art style and you try to draw somebody of color, they try to pick certain things to exaggerate. And they did it with Bro's nose. His nose is, I want to say that is at least a third of his face. Like, are they trying to make him look like a palm tree? Because look at the tree right next to him. Look at the tree right next to him. He looks like a tree.
That's too good. That's too good. I ain't even realized that, fam. Like, this is why you do what you do, bro. Like, seriously. Like, Boss just literally role playing, cosplaying, LARPing as a palm tree in real time.
So the depiction, the visual articulation of Jamaicanness is definitely questionable, Klasky, whatever your name is. However, what about the accent?
Jason, man.
Too much air.
No, too many broken rules.
What rule did we break?
What rule didn't you break?
Sorry, Conroy.
Sorry, don't cut the cheese. I hate to do this, but the 4 of you are suspended from the park.
Suspended? I've never been suspended from anything.
How long?
Well, let's see. According to the rule book, 1 week.
A week? But I'm having my party here.
Not anymore.
Come on, Conroy. Isn't there some way you'll let us have the party?
I'm sorry, my friends, but there's nothing Conroy could do.
Oh, Lord, that was hard. You don't understand.
I'm about to say, I don't...
Bro, it's bad. I'm sorry. I want to not influence the opinion, but it's bad.
Your boy Babatunde is the voice actor for Conroy, right? And we've talked about this phenomena at length, ad nauseum on this channel. Rarely are the minority cultures like the Caribbean able to tell their own stories. Even when you put another minority in charge of telling a minority story, you still end up with the bastardization. This is the nuance of our hue, of our shade. We are not a monolith. Now that's not to say that you can't ever depict another culture in media, even though you're not from that culture, because that's acting. However, you need to do more work in order to ensure that you're treating this minority culture with the fidelity and respect that it deserves. Because something like a Jamaican accent is extremely particular.
There's like small things like that you can pick up on a Jamaican accent to see like how Americanized, because there are Americanized Jamaicans. Very rarely. Jamaicans have a very good way of retaining culture. I would say that they're probably the best of the Caribbean from retaining it, because like a Bahamian we would go to Miami for a weekend and we'd come back with like an American accent. I kid you not. Like we would come back to the Bahamas, like talking about I'm finna go to the stove. Like literally, like we would sound.
How the fuck do you do that?
And with that in mind, the judges have placed their scores.
What do you all give Conroy Blanc? Tariq, what you saying? What you give him?
The accent killed him, man. That C he had, boy. Yeah, look, they talking DF. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, somebody just said L. Like, yeah.
Conroy getting the F from me, soldier. No debates, no discussion. How you gonna put a man on the screen like that for a second? You see, he ain't even got that much time to mess up. But still, even so, my boy only on the screen for a second, and he depicts Caribbean culture in one of the worst ways that I've ever seen it depicted in the cartoon. Clasco, or whatever they name, obviously wanted to play games. And the thing is, I could play games too. In fact, we about to play a game right now. I couldn't show Tyreek in the chat this one because it's far too controversial. I ain't gonna lie to you. It is something that I did not want to put on a live stream for people to freak out because I was scared what was gonna devolve in the chat. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'd like to introduce to you the first ever video game character that we are depicting on this series, the Dragon Caribbean Cartoon Character Series. And her name, this bag of polygons and hexagons and all kind of different shapes that they use in order to create this character, is Auntie Paulette.
Whoa. Whoa. Come in, my dear, and rest your soul. You must be the big bad man my granddaddy been chatting about. Tell me things about you, you know, when he visits, and about the others who wait for you. Them calling your name, boy, must want you pretty bad, don't you think? Now you do old Auntie Paulette turn, and maybe she help you. Maybe she can give you a little juju after all of this. Give you some magic to give the lawman the stink eye.
Nah, this ain't gonna take this long. This is a hit piece. I ain't gonna lie, this is a drag. There ain't much nuance in this. I just killing this one, right? Auntie Paulette is voiced by none other than Miss Cleo. You know? This Miss Cleo?
Tomorrow begins today with the wisdom of the tarot. How long you been trying to have his baby?
Whoa.
About 3 months, it looks like to I.
Yeah.
Second month, you actually thought you were pregnant.
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm. But you were just late.
Yeah. Oh my God. God, it's so true.
Call me now for a free reading and find out the truth.
Call 1-800-788-5260.
This is probably one of the only times where you will get a character that is just as problematic as their voice actor. Not only do you have Miss Cleo, an American voice actor, voicing a Haitian character, and there's absolutely nothing to discuss as far as if this woman is Haitian. This woman is emphatically Haitian as Toussaint. I mean, her name is literally Madame Haitian. But even worse, right? Miss Cleo is literally associated with scam spirituality. She is probably one of the biggest grifters in the world of voodoo, which is not to be confused by the legitimate practice that has been propagandized and demonized by Anglo-Saxon rhetoric. And after 2 minutes of any of these 2 videos, you should understand this phenomena far better than Rockstar does apparently. So you have Miss Cleo throwing an abysmal attempt at a Creole accent, as you would expect. But believe it or not, my biggest gripe with Auntie Paulette is before she even speak. Look at this girl. Are you serious, Rockstar? You all might as well literally put Aunt Jemima in the video game and call it a day. Auntie Paulette literally typifies, exemplifies, demonstrates the mommy stereotype to a T. That is a stereotype that has plagued black women for, Lord, since King Arthur was a hammer. The very stereotype that depicts black women as these voluptuous characters that tend to white people's children. It conflates dark-skinned black women with domestic work, and also at the same time of amazing attempt of a stereotype, hypersexualizes them. Then to top it off, to make matters worse, you have the flattening, the absolute steamroller effect of Haitian culture. But this character falls for the familiar fallacy that many Haitian characters fall for. I mean, in the first iteration of this series, Dragon Caribbean Characters, you literally had Haiti Lady. You know, Heidi Lady from the PJs that literally has Heidi Lady in her name. So not only they didn't care about this character enough to even give her a damn name, They also reduced her to the voodoo priestess stereotype. And that was it. There was absolutely no other development to her. That was her entire character. That was her identity. This is literally the same situation with Auntie Paulette. Her character is circumscribed to this trope and nothing else. She has no development, no wants, no desires. This is absolutely it for her. This is the end of the line. The end of the road. And that contributes to the very attitudes that people around the world treat Haitians with. So there should be no surprise when you see American officers on horseback whipping Haitian immigrants, or when you hear reporters lamenting about the atrocities in Eastern Europe, with remarks about these European countries being civilized, in comparison to people of our hue who get absolutely no type of press coverage when the same thing happens to us. Not even in these far-flung countries in Africa or in the region of the Caribbean, but literally juxtaposed directly next to Caucasians. And this is not to subtract from the repugnant and insidious invasion of Ukraine, but instead to reveal that it is rooted in the same wretch of the earth. The very system that creates a Putin, that looks back in the sepia-colored rear view of time and longs for the empire that he had, that literally stretched all the way to Eastern Germany, now ostracized by the hegemonic and oppressive oligarchy that is the Western power, thus committing the unspeakable atrocity of invading Ukraine, literally rendering their autonomy from their societal body. It's almost impossible to empathize with a monster like Putin. So why do we empathize when America does literally the same thing? Why and I not but when Western countries expand their influence beyond their borders through means of fire and brimstone? Why is it a humanitarian crisis when the American big brother bullies a smaller nation out of its autonomy? Of course, these are rhetorical questions because you know these answers. It's the same answer to when an American comes to my country and they're treated like an expat, rather than when a Haitian comes to my country and they're treated as an immigrant. Till we address the system that creates a Putin, will you have situations, atrocities, tragedies like these? And believe it or not, it's best to address these from the start. And what better beginning than cartoons? You see, I actually got back on point. I'm surprised that I did myself. It's our first introduction to the world at large. It's literally being able to travel to different experiences beyond your families, which is why we need diversity of story. Jar Jar wouldn't be so offensive if there was another Jar Jar that was done differently, because we need variety.
Before anything, there has to be variety. And that's why people get so upset, is because there isn't as much variety. So when you see one that you feel as though it's portrayed negatively, that's when it like annoys you, or it affects you more, because there isn't a contrast, right? There isn't something else to go like, okay, well, this other show running at the exact same time has a character that's not like that. Sometime on one network, we'll get one character, you know what I mean? And then he'll just run, that show will run for like 4 years, and then another show will come, and then that'll just be their one character.
Think of cartoons and TV programs as exactly what they are: programming. Imagine being a kid, which shouldn't be that difficult, we all won at one point, and you're sitting in front of this big television screen, when all of a sudden, out from the static,
Rastamouse, come in. Are you reading me?
So sorry, bro, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
I didn't want to laugh.
Come immediately.
Look like
Why does he have to talk like that, bro? Bro. He doesn't have to be like this, bro.
Rastamouse is a kid's cartoon in the UK where you have a Rastafarian mouse solving crimes with his crew, the Easy Crew. And I can't even talk about this. You need to just sit down and watch this part, because you can need some tea. Get some tea. I get mine right now.
Look at this rocks.
Yeah, man. Is that
Look
a
at
chain?
him. Bro, that ain't even, that's not even like a Jamaican hat. What is that? Isn't that like a hotel hat? Isn't it? It's not even a Rasta hat.
What kind of sick ass? Oh man,
bro,
where is this from?
UK.
What is this,
bro? You be skipping out in the UK, bro. Like you gotta drag some of them. Like they getting away with murder over there. Murder.
Somebody in the chat said poor storyteller had to deal with this on TV. This shit got my head hurting, bro.
The quilted cap with Ethiopian colors is to depict Jamaicanness. Despite, of course, not every Jamaican being a Rasta. Let's put that out there. So tell me, London got a very sizable Caribbean and African population in there, It ain't like y'all never seen a Rasta before. How y'all get this wrong? I never seen a Rasta hat like this a day in my life. Y'all rival in Louis Vuitton when they made the Jamaican jumper. I mean, it was like they wasn't even trying.
Let's just keep going. This thing is gonna kill me.
Look like we need it by the press. Let's go.
Bro. What the fuck, bro? I can't take it. I can't take
it. Because I literally was about to ask you, I'm like, does he speak? Oh, that shit got an R on it. Get the fuck out of here.
What?
It's gonna sound like I'm joking, but like, were they trying?
Between that, the awful hat, and the gold chain, I honestly was lost for words. Until this happened, and I had all kind of words.
You heard the yeah man, right? Yeah, he did a real slight right there. Like, yeah man! Like, it's...
Easy.
Why does this man have an eternal vibrato like in his voice? Oh, like man just sound like he got like the wickedest nut just now. Like man's like, oh, like I'm just like, bro, like what?
Off the walk-in, he busts off the walk-in.
Yeah, seriously,
they walk in.
like, it's like Rastamouse, bro. When you hear what man is just like so bothered by, like when you hear why he called them. You will literally cry. None of them are wearing pants. No pants in sight. Just the girl with the skirt on. But there's not a pants in sight. No trousers, gang. Like just out there dangling in the wind. Just like rat dick everywhere. Like I'm just like, bro, it's a problem. It's a problem. Hold on.
Crew, thank goodness you're here. Cause me need you to help me, please.
Why does he have to do this, bro?
Wait. He wasn't talking like that earlier, was he?
Bro, he been like this from start. But like, what about the Jamaican accent requires him to do that to his voice?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's like trembling.
He's so trembling, yes, exactly. Like, wait. Like, wait till you hear what I can't. Like, just wait, hold on.
Me think there must be a thief on the loose, taking away all of the cheese.
This nigga, man. They call him for the cheese. They're taking away all of the cheese.
This shit really got my head hurting, man.
I can't believe it. The whole of my cheese stuck gone.
Oh. Nah, man. You made this. Bro,
I wish I did.
It's crazy that a show like this could, even get a feature from Pop Smoke. Posthumous feature from Pop Smoke.
Glad to see ya, Easy Crew.
Bro, why does he sound like a New York drill rapper? Like, my boy sounds like Pop
Smoke. He sound like Tone Loc.
He sound like what Jadakiss look like. He sound like Jadakiss like two semitones down. Like man's just like he sounds like Pop Smoke. Like he sounds like a drill rapper. Just like he sounds like what Hennessy tastes like, bro. Like he don't have to.
Me have a problem here for true.
Bro, look at man. Look at man's drip. Look at his drip, bro.
Nah, no, this nigga don't got this.
Bro, he has a net t-shirt. He has a net t-shirt, bro. And are those Jordans? Man's wearing,
That's what I was thinking. This nigga got J's on. This nigga got J's on. He got mad piercings. He got the do-rag.
I don't even know who he is, bro. I don't know if he's Jamaican. I don't know what he is.
This is a much needed reprieve in the sea of mediocrity that is depicting Caribbean characters. Make no mistake now, this is one of the worst
depictions of Caribbeanness that I've ever seen in my life. But it's so bad.
Man, I saw somebody in the chat say it, but like somebody said the police officer light skin. It does look good. Like that's what's so upsetting about it, is that it looks nice. It's animated really well, but it's just that's why I kept saying there's no way this is real. This looks like it's like on like Robot Chicken. Like it looks like a joke. Like it looks like they were doing this to like play on every possible stereotype they could. It's like they were going through the greatest hits of like stereotypes.
It's so bad that it's good. Like,
yeah, I'm about to say, man, I might go S. You know what I mean?
I honestly believe that, bro. Like, y'all talking about how low can we go? This is in the sky for me, bro. Like, this is so good.
The verdict is in. Rastamouse get A tier. A for a show so bad that it's ironically a masterpiece, because the trailer alone brings life.
You better not run with me.
I think it's finally time we had a chat with our favorite medic, the Apex Legends support character, Ajay Shea, voiced by Mila Lee. It is alleged that this character is apparently from Trinidad and Tobago. But when I listen to this dialogue, when I listen to these couple little war cries that she says in between gunning people down and shooting people up with, I don't know, steroids or something to save their life, this was the most mutt Caribbean accent I've ever heard. Luckily, we have people from the islands that this character tries to impersonate. So let's see how well old Lifeline's quotes hold up to an actual Trini accent.
As a Trinidadian, I could tell you that her accent makes absolutely no sense if she's supposed to be Trinidadian. It's just ridiculous. I mean, like 1 second, she has this sort of like Jamaican sprinkling to her, and then another second, you know, she's on a slightly Trinidadian. And the next second, she's like some weird mishmash Antillean accent. And it's just, honestly, it's insulting. If I were to play this game, Apex Legends, which I don't, but if I were to play it, like, she's probably the character I would not play. The character I would avoid playing. The character I would kill the most, because what in jail is this? What kind of accent is this? It makes no sense. Let's just go over some of the lines.
It takes a lot to take me out.
Like, she pronounces like out, like at, for some reason. Like, it takes a lot to take me out. It's like, what is that? What is that? It takes a lot to take me out. Take me out. She doesn't even say the meh. And meh is like a classic, you know, Triniism. I am not the accent administrator, okay? I am not the dialect detective, alright? I am not the voice vigilante. But, I mean, come on. It's kind of ridiculous.
You ain't that bright if you wanna take me on.
I don't know of any Trinidadian who says ain't. They will say, yeah, bright. Or they'll say, you're not bright. Nah, as in not, you know. They wouldn't say, you ain't.
They don't just call me Lifeline because I save a life.
They don't just call me Lifeline because I save a life. Like, what is that?
Alright, you heard it from the floating head. What the hell was this? Naturally, Mila Lee is an American voice actress. You know, no surprise there. There's already a very difficult obstacle that you need to overcome, and that is cultural integrity. Lee would need to put in an absurd amount of work and research in order to depict this Caribbean character accurately. Thus, there is an immense amount of pressure upon Lee to do so, because if she were to get this wrong, the stakes are so high simply because there aren't many characters depicting Caribbean culture. This character can be a formative understanding for someone's first introduction to Trinidadian culture. Imagine Lifeline being your first interaction with a Trini or a Caribbean person in general. Because I mean, let's be real. You name a Trini character right now. I thought so. But let me help them out, right? Let me help them. Let me throw them a lifeline. You want to know an easier way that they could have done this? Where you didn't have to worry about cultural integrity? You could have just made your money off the culture and dip?
Hire one boy from Port of Spain to read the lines and you done. Not to mention the perpetuation of black women being the savior of the world. Historically, the world has been built on the backs of black women's altruism. Whatever the strain is on the world, black women get it tenfold. And there's this trope that black women are the ones that will save us. Don't take it from me, Watch this video by Khadija Umbo. You may think this is pedantic, but this is literally an aggregation of an abundance and overwhelming amount of misogynoir and anti-blackness in media. So you're right, it is pedantic. Because this is but one drop in the bucket. A bucket full of a sea of skullduggery. Drink. If it wasn't clear, if it wasn't made abundantly clear as yet, Lifeline getting an F from me. F for why, Like why? You didn't need to do all this. You could have found another character to do this. Or you could have hired a Trini actor. You could have hired St. Andrew and he would have done it. And don't say that because this is a game, they ain't have the resources to do it. Because, as I'm about to show you right now, you have games that actually do have resources to put directly towards cultural integrity. As this next character may change your mind.
Wait! Get the fuck out of here! It's little Jacob! Little Jacob, bro! He get little Jacob with it.
Jacob Hughes from GTA 4. A Jamaican arms and drug dealer from the gang The Yardis that's in New York. And from that depiction alone, it's pretty obvious the qualms that one may have with a little Jacob. But, there is a but. There is some nuance that may influence your opinion of him.
Still laughing.
Sure, Jacob. I'm on my way. Be there in an hour.
Check the money here.
Boricua, what's good, yo?
Nice bike, Rasta. Yo, drop me up at the airport now. Go on, Rasta.
What's up, Jacob?
Boy, it's good for spend some quality time with the eyes, see?
Yes.
Not all work, We gotta ease up from time to time to see how the world turns on. You know what I'm saying?
I think so.
Now, the time has come. Cause you gotta be an expert on Jamaican vernacular, accent, and verbiage at this point. Is little Jacob an accurate depiction of an experience, a Jamaican experience in New York? Let's find out.
Man, I don't remember him being like that. But I don't know. I'm almost scared I'm gonna say the wrong thing. But
y'all probably weren't Selassie. I say S tier.
I don't am I wrong that I don't really see? I think he's doing it all right.
Bro.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I was so scared.
This fella right here is probably the best representation of not only a Jamaican character, but a Caribbean character in general. I could totally see Jacob living in New York as a yardie. They're using very esoteric, in the know colloquialisms that you will not see in just about any depiction of a Caribbean character. St. Andrew is not a fan. St. Andrew say to me it feels like someone trying to play up their Caribbean.
It amazes me to find such a nuanced, well-developed, faithful character living in a video game with obscure references, on-point colloquialisms, and of course, finally, a visual depiction of a yardie that does not bastardize the Rastafari stereotype. Lil Jacob might be the very best that we have. The ambassador for Caribbean cartoon depictions. Oh Lord, ain't that terrible? There's of course one caveat, and that is the villain stereotype. Like I said, Lil Jacob is an arms and drug dealer, which is a reprehensible reinforcement of the Caribbean criminality stereotype. But one thing about this game in general saves Lil Jacob from whatever criticism that I was supposed to give him.
This is like Grand Theft Auto, where everybody kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? So
While this doesn't absolve the fact that many Caribbean people near and far have to combat this criminal stereotype that is quotidian in many forms of media, it does help that Jacob isn't this one malefactor in a world of saints. He is, in a weird way, normal. par the course for JTA characters. I mean, everybody doing dirt. And despite Lil Jacob being a vehicle to the next scene, he feels so fleshed out. He feels so developed. It feels like when Lil Jacob go home, he actually lives. So it boggles my mind that literally this is the same franchise that made an Aunt Paulette, which the Foreign Land Discord has some choice words for Lil Jacob still. I gotta include that. I can't lie. Regardless, the bar is on the floor. And at least Lil Jacob attempts to make a little bunny hop over it, rather than limbo underneath it somehow like Hermes and Grimm from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Oh God. And that's why I giving Lil Jacob, man, like Lil Jacob, S tier. We got an S tier, S for sans skullduggery, despite the obvious caveats of the villain stereotype, which is actually the next point in this fishy example of Caribbean characters. Oh God. A movie many of you may know, but you may not have noticed this.
This is what I think it is. I remember it being on the list.
Oh,
it is it? Okay.
Shark Tale needs no introduction. It's literally imitation and animation of Goodfellas, only everybody's fish. And there's literally whole hit pieces on this movie. However, I don't hear much about this.
The fish is supposed to look like Will Smith. The girl fish is supposed to look like Angelina Jolie.
She look like Mariah Carey.
Supposed to look like?
Bro, the girl fish look like Mariah Carey, fam. Like, how?
They do kind of look like Mariah Carey.
You right. Who did they, like, you are so right, bro. Like, who did they look like? Did they look like Ziggy Marley in them? Oh my God.
Sit tight and watch the race with your good eye. Who in the hell of it trips underwater? And by the way, on what?
That's it, I've had it. Bernie, I want you to find the deepest, darkest hole in the ocean, and when you do, dig deeper, and put him in it! Sorry, kid, it's nothing personal, it's just business.
The visual depictions of Jamaicanness, in my opinion, believe it or not, I'm gonna try to say some good things about this, is actually rather clever in my opinion. I do appreciate the fact that they used the jellyfish head to simulate a Rasta hat. You know, like, at least they didn't use actual Rasta hats, because that wouldn't make any sense, would it? And they also used the tentacles to simulate dreadlocks. That's clever, I'll give them that. You know, you get some kudos, big up yourself. You see, that was funny, but the rest of it, not so much.
I think this is like, them being like, Caribbean is the joke. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's the joke. Like, I think like, that is the sole reason they're this way.
It's almost like the Chappelle special. I never get tired of ragging on Chappelle. But it's just like that where you have a situation where transness is the joke. Because the experience of transness, I assume, has all kind of different opportunities to understand nuanced humor within it. Maybe if they've actually consulted with his trans friend, would he realize that there's all kind of funny things to be making fun of in the trans experience, rather than trans people itself? He relied on the bottom of the barrel, which is othering this experience, making it abnormal. Transness was the joke, and it's not. It's an experience, a valid one. It's as lazy as it is insulting. I mean, you can't just say "mun" 15 times and call it a day, call it humor.
They've counted 5 months. 5 months.
It's like watching Billy and Mandy.
The main issue that is absolutely amplified in this movie is one that is infinitesimal in Lil Jacob. And that is that these jellyfish are
thugs for hire. It's very obvious when the fella says, you know, I want you to put him in the deepest and darkest hole.
Sure, you can say that there's a lot more malefactors in this film. However, the jellyfish are the lowly henchmen. In the hierarchy of hench, they are the bottom. And Tariq brought up some points, some excellent points that I would have never thought of, and that's the reason why he is so essential to this video.
Then these are the two characters that you're supposed to be afraid of at this point in the film. Until the real antagonist comes.
These are the first villains.
Yeah, and I think that's really my issue with it.
The part that not surprises me, the part that pisses me off the most is when I found out who voiced one of these characters. Because up until now, you've had non-Caribbean voice actors voicing Caribbean characters. But this one was voiced by none other than
goes to show that even Jamaicans or Caribbean people or whomever are trying to be depicted as voice actors also conform to what they think people want.
It goes to show that even we know that stereotypes sell. So cognizant of that, we perform that stereotype either by overdoing it or by diluting it to make it accessible to a general audience. Instead of having these characters be defined by their race or their ethnicity or their nationality, why not actually have character development? Why not take out the pen and give the character good writing, good depth? Because as proud of my culture as I am not only my nation. There are contradictions and quirks that make me me. And by not representing a character that is nuanced as life itself, you're telling people like me that we aren't worthy of being on TV. More importantly, you're perpetuating an avatar of Caribbeanness that I may not conform to. Thus, I'll be punished for it. I'll be punished when they say, oh, why can't you run fast like Cool Runnings? Hopefully they don't say, why can't you take bullets like Luke Cage or Bushmaster? I don't remember which one. So when it comes to the tier list for Ernie and Bernie, I don't know what his name is, you shouldn't be surprised what they get.
I gotta put like a D. For me, it's a D. Like, chat, what you're saying, like, Tariq, what you thinking, like, it's getting a D for me.
I think D is fair. It's not as egregious as Conroy because of how fucked up his like accent was and shit. You know what I mean? I think
it's a bad accent.
I think what really drags these two down is their function in the story, like the fact that they are not only are they like the henchmen, but they're the ones that do all the heavy lifting.
Personally, they gotta get the F tier for me. And for the same reason that Jimmy Carter get like the F tier for me. You have the talent and you choose not to use it. Finally, you have a Jamaican actually in a position to speak to the culture authentically. And instead, you give cafeteria jerk chicken. He plays the accessible Jamaican role. The one that doesn't have a accent that alienates you or you can't understand, or lingo that you may have to go online to search up to really gather what it means and appreciate it and incorporate it into your own, like Drake probably does. Everything that Ziggy Marley does makes me feel like he did it with the intention of commodification. And I mean, that's fine, you want to make a living off of your art, but it's clear who he wants to sell it to. He's not speaking to me. He's speaking to the market. I rarely feel an effort to balance authenticity with accessibility when it comes to Ziggy Marley. And the problem with making for the market is that the market is also misinforming the world. And you lend authority, you lend the Jamaican authority stamp of approval to someone that is literally writing your story for you. You're helping someone distort your own experience. Which is why it's important that people like Tyreek, like Haryana, like Storyteller analyze cartoons. Something that seems flippant, something that seems, whimsical. But it's so more pernicious, it's so more insidious, the way the cartoons color the way that we see the world. Cartoons are our first interactions with so many concepts as kids. So imagine the oligarchs are not even imagine, I mean, this is the case. The oligarchs of the world are literally operating on understandings from books and depictions of minority cultures that are just not accurate. Imagine growing up on something like this. I mean, you don't even have to imagine because you probably did grow up on it, just like I did. And now I have to relearn these repugnant lessons which being told return to plague the inventor. Because these cartoons lead to biases, and these biases lead to bigotry. Whether intended malevolence or indolent ignorance. These words can in turn hurt people from these experiences that they're bastardizing. Much like my words hurt people. My anti-fatness hurt people. But the difference between people like us and people like Lucas is that we're willing to address our transgressions. We're willing to accept accountability, even when there was no mens rea that meant harm, because we understand what it is to be marginalized. And we understand that even a cartoon like Mr. Yeehaw, who's in rehab by the way, can hurt people in real life.
I wish I could have put all of the highlights of that stream with Tariq in this video, right? But it would have been far too chaotic for YouTube. That's why I made an extended cut just for you on Nebula with bonus content like this.
Oh, you know what? I didn't, I was supposed to tell this story in the last video, but I didn't. I never got paid for How to Black.
Bro, no.
I can't believe that.
I drink bleach. Hell no.
Plus, you're getting people like Marquez Brownlee and Melina Pendulum, because there's a platform full of educational, independent creators that you get to support directly without a greedy middleman taking a cut. And the best way to get access to Nebula is through the smartest streaming bundle on this godforsaken internet with Curiosity Stream, where you get access to thousands of documentaries for less than $15 a year. That's a whole Chipotle bowl. Like I watching this documentary on Curiosity Stream called Wild Caribbean, and listen, y'all watch that and tell me if you ever want to set foot in the ocean again in your life. Enough of the chat though. Touch this link right here to get the smartest bundle in streaming. I can see you on Nebula.